loud. All right, well, let's start with introductions. With it being so close to Thanksgiving, how about we say our names and one thing or more that we're thankful for? So my name is Kimberly Peterson, and I am the president of the Environmental Rotary Club of Puget Sound. And I am thankful for the passion of this club that continues to inspire me. And I'm also thankful for a month home with my family in Seattle in this natural beauty. So Janice, would you care to go next?
Quick question. You're already here?
I am already here.
Ooh, okay. I'd like to have a minute with you sometime.
Yes, I've been meaning to send you an email, but yes, that will happen for sure.
Janice Hogat, and I'm with the Environmental Rotary Club and happy to be part of that. Very grateful to be in Seattle. Douglas volunteered us to do a quick trip to Tucson to take one of his guest cars down for them because they had hip surgery and couldn't drive. And that is not a place I would want to live. So very grateful to live in Seattle.
Wonderful. So are you in Arizona now or are you back?
Oh no, that was like leave work Saturday after work, drive till midnight, 1 o'clock, get up the next morning, drive till midnight, 1 o'clock. By that time, we're just past LA over by Palm Springs somewhere. And then get up the next morning and drive, get into Tucson at 1 or 2 in the afternoon, have dinner, get up the next morning, catch the airplane back. I mean,
wow.
It was do this first a favor and come home. So, but even at that, you know, just walking around down there and they're warning about rattlesnakes in the bushes and scorpions and, you know, stay on the road and like, and it's still 85 degrees there. It's like, holy smokes. No, thank you.
Well, thank you, Janice. Christina Hadding, would you care to go next? I said it right the first time.
Yes. Well, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. So I'm Christina, the secretary of this club, and I am thankful for wonderful family and family support, especially as we're coming into Thanksgiving, being able to spend it with some extended family for the first time in many years. So excited about that, having my best friend home.
Yay. Judy McCulley, would you care to go next?
Sure, I'm Judy McCulley, and I'm married to Bill. I can see that his name is up here. We attended a joint meeting together, so I changed my name, but I'm the Judy part of it. I'm thankful for my husband, Bill, and I'm thankful also for family. And I'm also thankful, I know I talk a lot about forest restoration when I come to this club, but one of the other things that I'm passionate about is sourcing greens for my family. And you can see behind me my 2 towers. I grow all of our lettuce and greens, have not had to buy those except for spinach. I'm still trying to figure out what variety I can grow. I grow aeroponically, and so it's sustainable. We reuse the water and the nutrients. And it's just a fun little hobby, but it's definitely allows us to make great salads and pick as we go. So I'm thankful for that and the resources to do that.
Incredible. Thank you, Judy. Then I guess we'll go by my screen. Christina with a C, welcome.
Hi, my name is Christina Pham. I'm a member of this club, and like Christina with a K, I'm also thankful for my friends and family. They're a big source of support, and I'm very thankful for that.
Wonderful. Cheryl, welcome.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Wheeler, and I'm not a member yet, but just kind of hanging out, getting to know everybody, checking it out. And I am very thankful for, I moved last year to a new town, and I'm very thankful for all of my incredibly nice neighbors who have kind of got me connected with all of the things that I need there. And everyone is very genuine and conscientious, and it's been really nice to move to such a wonderful place.
Amazing. I'm so glad. Maddie, welcome. Are you able to speak?
Yes. Hi, my name is Maddie Price, and right now I'm feeling thankful to be part of communities and circles that are really passionate and dedicated to supporting urban farming and teaching people to grow their own food and changing the food system.
Excellent. And last but not least, welcome Saman, our illustrious guest speaker.
Hi, my name is Saman Shareghi, and I'm thankful to have my family around me for this Thanksgiving. I miss them so much with all the COVID going on and everything.
Excellent. Wonderful. All right. Well, I did have time to make a little presentation. Oh, first let's make sure everybody can share. All right. And then I will share. All right. And this time I made it so it's on the first page. Yay. Make it a slideshow. I'm not going to make that mistake again. All right. Welcome to the Environmental Rotary Club of Puget Sound. We begin all our meetings with a land acknowledgement. And so it goes like this. We acknowledge with respect that we are on the ancestral homeland of the Coast Salish people, in particular the Duwamish, the first people of Seattle, and much of King County, who are still here and continue to embody and practice the strengths of their Indigenous culture, teachings, and values. They have reserved treaty rights to this land, past and present. We need to protect and honor the history and people of the Duwamish land and our Indigenous neighbors, the Suquamish, Nisqually, and Snoqualmie and Muckleshoot tribes, for their enduring care and protection of our shared lands and waterways. And now we will talk about Rotary International's commitment to the environment. We are committed to supporting activities that strengthen the conservation and protection of natural resources, advance ecological sustainability, and foster harmony between the communities and the environment. We empower communities to access grants and other resources, embrace local solutions, and spur innovation in an effort to address their causes and reduce the effects of climate change and environmental degradation. And wow, we did so many things in November. So our movie night on November 6th raised more than $1,900 and sold 71 tickets. Judy, would you like to talk about the Shoreline Days tree planting at North City Park?
Sure. We had 38 volunteers show up. We were able to plant 260 plants, both trees as well as understory and ground covers that are native to the area. And we were able to, it's about a quarter an acre that we were able to clear and prepare for this planting. We started our third restoration site and have got volunteers out. We're finding a lot of invasive plants that we need to pull out of this new area, and looking forward to continuing to work on the 4 acres that we call North City Park.
Amazing. Well, if you have any work parties coming up, please email them to me and I'll post them on the website.
Thank you, I will.
All right. And then Maddie, would you care to talk about the work party at Beacon Hill Food Forest last weekend?
Sure. Yep, I was there. We had 5 different activities going on during the day. I can't totally remember. Weeding, mulching, working on a hugelkultur compost project. I actually ended up hurting my back and ended up just manning the welcome table for most of the time, but also packaging seeds for a new seed library I helped put up at the Food Forest. So if you're into collecting seeds or sharing seeds, then feel free to stop by. And yeah, we won't be having a third Saturday work party for December, but we'll resume in January. If you want to be part of the email list for the work parties, which are kept small because COVID, there's like a contact form you can fill out on the website, beaconfoodforest.org. And yeah, we love getting new folks involved.
Excellent. Well, I'm very impressed. And I found a better picture than the tomato plant I had last meeting. All right. Forward. So in December, we will only have one meeting, and it will be in person in Lake Forest Park at the Third Place Commons, 7 p.m. on December 7th. So lots of sevens in there, easy to remember. It will be our annual meeting and a holiday celebration, and it should be a really great time. So if you can attend, please do. And we have a movie night that we're taking a break for December because December just gets so crazy. But we have a movie night scheduled for January 8th. And it is called Food for the Rest of Us. And I'll play the little preview.
Kim, there's no sound.
Oh, man. I always do that. So I'm gonna have to stop. Let's see. Stop the share. And then let's share better. Here we go. All right, let's try this again. See if it works any better. Let me know if you can't hear it.
It's good, there's sound.
Awesome.
Hawaii is 80 to 90% dependent on imports for food, right? I have to make money so I can buy those foods, feed my family.
You have to separate people from the land so they have to work for you, for money, instead of being able to grow for them, for sustenance.
I just got to think back after dropping out of high school myself, what kind of jobs I got. You knew you were getting exploited, they knew they're exploiting you. That just builds up.
Once you don't have the type of connection to each other, you don't have a connection to your landscape, you don't have a connection to meaningful employment, you create poverty.
I asked him, is there any space for women to learn this? And he was kind of like, no space. Just really nudged me off.
The cucumbers. It's not uncommon to hear.
What was that?
Gunshots.
Oh my luck!
You're part of this long line of people and events.
I don't think people realize how connected we are to the earth in a way that is more spiritual.
This is our right to cultivate land and create relationship. We will do that, and we will make ourselves healthy and strong and vital.
When climate change has reached its peak, when their towers crumble and the money's gone, what are you gonna eat?
All right, so it should be a good film. Tickets are $5, and you can find that on our website. Oh, no, we don't want to play it again. And we are in the process of making a 501c3 foundation. In order to successfully complete that, we need to update our bylaws. If you join our club by December 7th, you can vote on these new bylaws. And if you are already a member and you cannot attend on December 7th, please send your vote on the bylaws by email to Christina with a K and myself. And new in 2022, an evening book club. Christina with a K, take it away.
Thank you, Kim. So we're going to be starting up a book club. We're going to start with We Are the Weather, Saving the Planet Begins at Breakfast. The book club will be January 13th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. They'll be moving forward as well. There'll be, I think, see January. So it's the second Thursday of every month. So we're very excited about this. And we'll be reading books having to do with the environment. So if you guys do have suggestions, I'm always open for suggestions on books that will cultivate a good discussion. We're opening this up for not just this club, but anybody that's interested. They don't even have to be Rotary members to come and have a good discussion about what we're reading in the books. So yes, I'm very excited to start this. I will be spearheading it at this point, and we'll see how it goes. So very excited and can't wait to have the discussion about this. So thank you, and I hope to see you all there. As many of you that can make it. I understand some evenings don't work, but yep.
Wonderful. All right, now I think that's the end for my section. So now I will stop sharing, and I would like to invite to the stage our guest speaker, Saman. Welcome, Saman. I'm very excited to hear his discussion. Do you have slides to share?
Yes, I do. Could you please make me a host?
Let me see. I think you're able to share. Let me find out how I make you a host.
I actually tried sharing. Can you see it?
I can see it. Yes.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
All right, let's get started. So, hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about my permaculture backyard and how you can change your relationship with your grass lawn a little bit to have a better impact on the climate change. So let's start with industrial agriculture, see what kind of problem it poses for the environment, then the permaculture solution to it, and then I'll get into what I've done with my backyard. In industrial agriculture, we usually have monocrops, and we need to have large clearings. And that large clearing means that you're going to lose a lot of predators like birds. And as fertilizer, we put in NPK into soil, and because NPK on its own is not a stable element, it's trapped into these salts. The manufacturer of these fertilizer put them in this specific salt, and then that salt is spread on the land. So because we need to get rid of that salt to get the nutrition, we need to use a lot of water. So now we have a lot of water, a lot of nutrition. So what happens is that you're going to produce, your producers are going to be big. They're going to be fantastic for a short period of time. And that is exactly the characteristics that pests are looking for in a produce that they want to attack. So now you have a pest problem, and you don't have predators anymore. So what you need to do is to use pesticide. Now, pesticide the chemical pesticide that is strong enough to kill the pest on soil surface is gonna just destroy the microorganism inside of the soil. So now you have a damaged soil. So the nature's mechanism to revitalize the soil is to grow some weeds. But we don't want weeds in our monoculture. So what do? We need to get rid of them. So we are gonna introduce a lot of herbicide. Now, the herbicide that is damaging the weed and getting rid of the weed is gonna also damage the crops. So now the crops are damaged. So what grows on damaged crop? Fungus. So now you have a fungal growth problem. So what do? You add fungicide to the whole thing. So now you have a potent cocktail of a lot of chemicals added to the soil, and it's just destroying the environment really, really badly. Fortunately, we have a solution for it, and that is called permaculture. But permaculture, it's not just for agriculture purposes. We can actually apply permaculture principles to every facet of our life. Think of it as a ethical framework that you can like view the world the world through. So in permaculture, we have three core principles. One is earth care, the other one is people care, and the other one is return of surplus. Earth care means that you need to take care of the environment that nourishes you. So you need to take care of, in case of agriculture, it's pretty straightforward, literally take care of the earth. Don't add unnecessary chemicals to it. In my case, I don't use any chemical whatsoever in my yard. People care means that you are responsible for your own community. So you need to make sure that people in your community are thriving. And once you have a thriving community, you're as an individual, you're gonna thrive too. Return of surplus means that if you set up such a thriving system and you have more than what you can consume, you need to give it, you need to somehow get rid of it. So in case of permaculture, we return that surplus back to earth through like composting and methods like that, and give them to people. So we give produces to our neighbors and people in our community. When you go out as a permaculture designer, the very first thing that you do, you observe everything. So you want to see what is harming the environment that you want to work on, and what are the things that are thriving and doing really well. And you provide those niches for nature to thrive. So permacultures are usually lazy people, and you just want to do the least amount of work as possible, and you want the nature to thrive without you putting much input to it. And once you have those, once you make that biodiversity by inviting birds, bees, and insects, and all of that, you are gonna have those elements are gonna balance each other out. So we are not getting rid of pests in permaculture way of approaching things. We are just adding more and more predators to the ecosystem that balance those creatures out. Now, let's talk about how we ended up with grassland that we have today. This gentleman to the right, his name is Capability Brown. He lived and worked in 1700s. He was a landscape architect, and his whole philosophy was that if you're rich and you have the money, you shouldn't grow your own food. You shouldn't, at least food shouldn't be like in sight. So in all of his designs, he had large clearings, a lot of grass lawn. He pushed a food production system to the back of the land, and the servants needed to just travel farther away to get those food and material. And he used a lot of ornamentals with almost zero value, zero production value, zero food value. And now we're trying to fix that. So if you are a permaculturist, you have a solution for it. And again, The grasslands are pretty much similar to industrial agriculture. If you have a grassland, you need to water it excessively, especially during the dry time of the year. So you need to, for instance, like in the heat wave that we had this year, I saw like a lot of my neighbors had the sprinklers just going on 24/7 to keep the grass healthy. And there are a ton of maintenance that goes into keeping the grass healthy. You need to mow it once a week or every other week. You need to use a bunch of biocide because grass on its own is just monoculture, right? So a lot of weeds are going to grow, a lot of moss are going to grow on grasses if you're not careful. So you need to add those chemical biocides to your soil as well, and it's going to damage the ecosystem. The permaculture solution for it is to switch our behavior and go to food escaping. So when we talk about food escaping, that simply means that we plant a lot of fruit trees, berries, a lot of vines, things that you can eat. And because you are having those like understory level and different types of plants and things like that, you're going to invite a lot of biodiversity to your land, and that's going to increase biodiversity, and it's going to improve the ecosystem. It's crazy how once you do a right thing for nature, how nature just like snaps into place and tries to just like make things better. You know, it's just fascinating to see that while you're working on your backyard. And this is not a foreign subject to us. We've done this before. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Victory Gardens. We had Victory Gardens. We planted a lot of vegetables during World War I and World War II. And two amazing statistics I will give you is that by the end of World War I, we had more than 5 million Victory Gardens across the US. And in World War II, the production of Victory Gardens equal to the commercial production of food in the US. That's just insane to think about. And now I propose to you that climate change is World War III. So we have to take this seriously. And I'm not just giving you a slogan there. We literally, some part of the Middle East is going to be uninhabitable by the end of the century. And you think war on oil was bad, war on water is going to be insanely worse, you know? So we have to take these things seriously, and we have to start digging for victory now. And by doing that, by working on your gardens, by adding fruits and vegetables and things like that, you're going to preserve a lot of water. Because like, for instance, in permaculture, we center our design around water flow, and we want to preserve as much water as possible and sequester as much water as possible. You're gonna cut the transportation CO2 of your material completely. There's not going to be any packaging for the produce that you use, and you're gonna improve soil biodiversity by just planting things. So it's great. And you also decrease your dependence on big agro, which in and of itself is a noble thing to do. And you build communities. So I've spent a lot of time on my backyard. I worked for like 5 months on just like making my backyard better. And when I was working there, a lot of people just stopped by and asked questions. They shared their knowledge with me. They brought in seeds, little plants, and like I shared some with them. And like one of our neighbors actually helped me to haul in all of the fall leaves in our neighborhood to my yard so I can compost them. So it's crazy how you can build a community that easily. This is my backyard. So here is before I started. As you see the bottom picture, there is a grass lawn there. It didn't have any other things in it. And there were a bunch of problems that I had with my backyard that I wanted to fix. The very first one was poor soil. To the right of the bottom picture, there's actually a pond that you can't see. And that pond extended, I've been told by one of the neighbors that that pond extended all the way to the driveway almost. and the previous owner hated nature for some reason, and he put in a ton of construction debris to fill this up. So when I was going through implementing my permaculture design, I saw a lot of plastic debris, a lot of cement blocks as big as my whole body, and it was just awful and horrible. Then the other thing that we had problems with is that we had this land, but we weren't like growing anything. So almost zero production other than eggs and some berries here and there. Then the other problem was water runoff because we didn't have any vegetation cover. All of the rainwater just washed over the grass and went into the pond. Then the other problem was chicken feed. We relied heavily on commercial chicken feed, and it was fine, but we could also give so many of our kitchen scraps to our chickens. For instance, like chickens don't eat like outer shell of onions and things like that. So a lot of our kitchen waste also needed to be thrown out, and that goes into landfill. It's going to create a lot of methane, and it was horrible. So this is my design. It's a little bit messy. I'll give you a simpler design in a second, but as you see, the red ones are the things that used to be there before I started. The green ones are the things that I implemented this year, and the orange ones are the things that I will implement next year. So as you see, like I have like tripled almost the diversity in my backyard by doing simple things. Now this is the simpler version. So we're gonna talk about water management and like things that I've done in a second. And this is one of the water management techniques that I have done. The picture that I took is not the greatest, but you can see that I've dug a swale. For those of you who don't know what swale is just a depression along the contour of the land. So because it's along the contour of the land, it's a level surface. And what does water do on a level surface? It just sits there. So soil has time to absorb that much water, and the water is gonna slowly leach into the soil, and it's gonna get slowed down dramatically. So instead of having just grass, now I have a mechanism to hold on to water for as long as possible. And this is not just a water management technique; it's also a soil generation and fertilizing technique. For instance, here, the bottom layer of my soil, I have horse manure, and then on top of that, I have mushroom substrate, and then on top of that, I have mulch. So when when it's raining, it just like the water just sits in there, and it washes all of those nutrients into the soil and passively fertilizes all of my plants and trees. So it's just amazing how you can set up a system that requires minimal input. Then the other, these are the spaces that I have used the soil technique. The soil to the right near the chicken coop, that one I actually use that to compost my chicken poop. So that is a very good way of getting rid of chicken poop and making sure that you compost it. Then the other technique that I'm using for water sequestering is terracing. This is a horrible picture again, but this is the idea that I have terraces on top of each other, and then whenever one overflows, it goes to the bottom terrace, and so on and so forth. And by this, I'm just slowing water again so much that soil has time to absorb it. And this is the place that I'm trying that method out. Then the last method that I'm using for water sequestering is deep mulching. Here, I have a big layer of cover. So like the first layer is cover crop. I use hairy vetch and daikon radish. Then the top layer of it is horse manure. Then after that, mushroom substrate. Then a very thick layer of leaves, and then mulch on top of leaves. And I'm gonna add more mulch, so it's gonna be more than 1 foot of mulching. So imagine putting a gigantic sponge on top of soil, and that sponge is going to just hold on to water very well. And then as like time goes by, it's going to just decompose and turn into a very rich soil. And these are the places that I'm trying those methods out. So I'm trying 3 different methods, and during the heat of summer, I'm going to come back and check to see which one has outperformed the other ones, and which one has hold on to more water, and which one is just creating more soil. Then I'm taking soil creation seriously. So I have different ways of composting. One of my favorite is red wiggler. That bathtub that you see to the right, that bathtub is full of red wigglers. I have thousands and thousands of them. They go through rotten food like crazy and make a really rich soil. The things that I can't feed to my chickens and I can't feed to my red wigglers, those kitchen scraps go into a kitchen composting pile. And I also have, I'm also using this composting method called Berkeley method, which makes really rich compost in 18 days. It's just amazing how it works. And things that I can't put in any of those categories, like meat trimmings or chicken head or fish head or fish bones, I just bury them under my fruit trees, and my fruit trees absolutely love it. To the left of the picture, you can see my mealworms. The mealworms are actually really interesting too. They are high in protein. Live, they have 22% protein content, and if you dry them, they have like more than 50%, almost close to 60% protein. They are edible both by human and chicken. They look pretty gross, so I haven't tried them yet, but I will in the future. And they also eat plastic. That's another interesting fact. So once they get to a certain population that I can sustainably just like give them to my chickens, and I eat them myself, I'll also try just like feeding them plastic and see how that works. I've read articles that it's not gonna harm them in any way, but I need to see that. And this is the area that I'm growing the worms. I also focus a lot on efficiency. A lot of things that I have planted, they all have like multiple functionalities. For instance, hairy vetch is the cover crop that I'm using, that I use heavily. Hairy vetch, for instance, the roots of it are they get nitrogen out of the soil, and once you cut the plant, nitrogen is going to go back into the soil. So that's a fertilizer. Then the greens, the hairy veg greens are a favorite of my chicken, and also they're cover crop. So they cover the soil so much that weeds can't grow. So there are like 3 functions for just that simple cover crop plant. I also believe that trash is gold. Those mushroom substrate that you see on the top picture, I picked them up from this mushroom farm up in Duval. I took almost 4 tons of them to my backyard and my sister's backyard. All of the places that you see, I have wood chip in my garden, and it's pretty much everywhere. There is a layer of mushroom substrate under it, so it can like decompose the wood chip faster. I got almost 200 cubic yard of wood chip from Chip Drop. That is absolutely for free. Otherwise, those things would have gone to landfill. So I saved a ton of things from going to landfill. Then I also used 2 cubic meter of horse manure from one of our neighbors. Then I use all of the fall leaves in our neighborhood, and all of the bricks and cement blocks that you see I have used in my design. They are all from my family members and neighbors, so I didn't spend much money implementing the whole thing. Majority of the money that I spent was for purchasing the plants and trees. And then kitchen scraps, I get kitchen scraps constantly from my neighbors and feed them to my chickens and my red wigglers. The future for my nursery. This is one of our employees. She is absolutely stunning. And I have 12 chickens, and I hope that I can just give eggs to my neighbors. I can sell eggs to my neighbors. Mealworms, they are both marketable, live or dried, and their frass and exoskeleton are also usable. So you can so it's a 1:1:1 ratio of NPK in their frass and exoskeleton, and also their frass acts as pest repellent. And I've used that successfully in my raised bed, and it's great how it works. Red wiggler is still again live or dried. It's usable. Dried you can feed to your chickens, and live you can feed your chickens and they can compost. The compost tea that I make out of red wiggler casting, that is marketable as well. Fruit and veggie, majority is for my family and my immediate neighbors, but I would be able to sell the excess. And we use this propagation method called air layering. I have a link to it in the resources that you can look at it. But we propagate our fruit trees and sell them as well. And my future goal is to be able to do this for schools and public spaces. So something that is easier to reach out to people and teach them how to start with just planting and gardening. Now, if we have time, I can show you some of the pictures of my property. Okay. Can you?
Absolutely.
Sure. Can you see the pictures now?
Just the blank share pics.
Okay. So let me share again. Okay. So this is again my backyard before I start working on it. Then this is how it looks like now. And all of the bricks that you see, they're from my neighbors. That top part, you can see the soil. I have planted 3 trees in that area between the walkways. There's a walnut tree, and then there's a fig, and then there's a peach tree in that small strip. Then this was you can now see the pond in this picture. So this is the grass lawn. The majority of the work that I did was in this area. This is the first iteration. I added some trees. I added some like raised bed for strawberries. Then this is what it looks like now. That's me just throwing some wood chip around. And you can see all of the ground, the cover crop that I've planted there. I smother those cover crops because I want to add more biomass to the soil. So that is how it looks like now, with all of the cover crops covered. And then this is the cement block pieces that I was talking to you about. And as you see, like the soil that I'm working with is absolutely dead. Pieces of plastic here and there. And then this is my simple implementation of a greenhouse. It's just 2 cattle panels that are bent and tied together. And this is how it looks like now after putting the cover over it. Then this is a vegetable garden. This used to be a flower garden in front of our house. And our kitchen is our kitchen is like right behind this vegetable garden, this flower garden. So I was thinking that we can use the gray water that we have from like washing dishes or washing fruits, and just like have a vegetable garden here. So the gray water goes into a vegetable garden, and I just did that. And I implemented this vegetable garden here. This is just like I'm just creating soil for the next year, of course, but the whole area here is going to be just vegetables and fruits and things like that. And the majority of water that we use here is going to come from gray water from our kitchen that is like right next to it. And again, those cement blocks are from my sister, so no money for that. This is the Berkeley method that I talked to you about. For Berkeley method, you need to have horse manure, some green clippings, and some carbon. And this is what it looks like: horse manure, then carbon, then green clippings, and you just like stack them on top of each other. And this is what it looks like. This is not 100% done yet, but it looks really rich and great after at the end of it. I've done it once before. Mushroom substrate. This is my sister's backyard, and as you see, like I put all of these mushroom substrate right next to each other. Put a ton of wood chip on top of it. This is the preparation for that deep mulching that I was talking to you about. I use a lot of cardboards because they just get rid of weeds a lot. Then mushroom substrate, horse manure, and leaves. And now I cover them. At the end, I covered them with wood chip. Soils again. And then this is a rain barrel. I need to have more rain barrels in my property. This is the only one that I have, but I'm gonna add like 2 or 3 more. And then this is the terracing. Oh, and here's one interesting thing I was talking to you about observation. This one is just, I had like these bales of hay inside my garage. One day I took them out and it rained that night. They got so heavy that I couldn't move them inside, but I just wanted to just move them somewhere. And I tried to move them and I saw that under them, there are a lot of worms. So as you see, there are like 3 red wigglers in that particular picture, and I just left my the haze outside, and once in a while I just pick them up and get all the red wigglers from underneath it, add them to my red wiggler bathtub, and I didn't need to move the hay pile, so win-win-win. And that's just one observation, for instance. And these are my red wigglers inside of the tub. This is my red wiggler and mealworms, some worms, pupa, and beetles. These are my beetles. And then this is me having my vegetable. And then here's the pond, and that fence over there. If you can't see it in this picture pretty well, but there is a passion fruit in the middle of that fence. I swear to God, it's there. That I hope that is gonna take over the whole fence. So I'm gonna have passion fruit in my garden too, and it's just like the fence was there, so it has a free trellis to grow on. And I believe that's it.
Wonderful. Saman, thank you so much for this delightful presentation.
No problem.
And now I'd like to open it up for questions. Does anyone have any questions? I'll try not to go first.
So, Saman, how large is the space you're working in your yard?
It's around 2,000 square feet.
Okay.
Like the whole like the structure and like the whole area. Yeah.
So as you were talking, I was thinking about our space, and we also have kids who like to play out in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that would prevent the sharing of that space with children or pets?
Just add mulch to it. People hate mulch, so I'm kidding a little bit, but that is what happened because I have a nephew that is 10 years. And then a couple of days ago, he just like walked up to me and he was like, "I don't like this. I used to have a grass lawn here and I could play, and now it's just mulch." I was like, valid criticism, but you're gonna be thankful in a couple of years.
I have a comment and a question. But my comment is just that you could probably try some like steppables, you know, that kind of thing that people could walk around and play on in a couple of areas for the kids. I've had this come up on my property that like, I don't want any grass, but at the same time, I can see like, people are gonna, I have a rental property. I was like, people are not gonna be happy if there's just no grass. So that's a comment. And then I have a question that I'm really excited to hear the answer to is, how are you gonna do the gray water from the kitchen to the vegetable garden? I wanted to do that a couple of years ago when I lived in Kirkland, and it was like, no way, you are not allowed to have a pipe that goes from your kitchen sink to outside. And just wanted to know how you're going to set that up.
Sure. Yeah, so regarding the grass, so it's not that you have to get rid of all the grass in existence. You know, you can just still have some grass patches here and there. For instance, like I volunteered at this permaculture food forest in Maryland, and we had a grass lawn for the area that we're sharing for like our lunch time and things like that. And it's actually a technique that permaculture forests use to keep like wildfire from destroying everything. So it's okay to have clearing, but like you have to be super intentional with. So if it is absolutely something that adds a ton of value, by value I mean if it makes you happy, like that is a value. If that adds a ton of value to you or your family member, by any means have grass lawn, but just make sure that it's you give the minimum amount of that in your design, and then the rest of it is just like more food forest related plants and things. About the gray water, yes, I actually had a plumber over, and I asked him that if there is a way that we add like a line, a pipe that we can switch on and off, and that switches on and off between gray water and black water. But yeah, that is apparently illegal. What I do, I always wash my stuff, my vegetables and like in pots and big tubs and things like that, and I physically carry them outside and throw them under the trees. So what I want to do for the vegetable garden, I'm designing this funnel system. So there's going to be a funnel close to the walkway, so it's pretty much accessible. Then I'm putting a ton of PVC pipes in the vegetable garden, so that funnel is large enough that I don't need to like be super careful with where I throw the water. And I go out and throw that water in the funnel, and then it's just gonna go to those PVC pipes, and PVC pipes are gonna water the whole thing. So that's my way around it. Just like make it legal.
That's cool. That's cool. That gives me ideas. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hello, Douglas. Welcome.
Hi, Kimberly. Good morning or afternoon, I guess it is. So the feedback from your neighbors, once you tore up your front yard and threw the wrench into the whole neighborhood, they finally came on board and said, here's our leaves and stuff.
So I get a lot of feedback from my neighbors. Most of them are you're crazy. But it's because like they haven't seen such a thing, you know. But so I brought in as I said, like almost 4 tons of mushroom, and during fall they started to just fruit like crazy. So I had big mushrooms like this big. There were like 15-20 pounds of mushroom, just like one single mushroom. One single black oyster was that much. And I just like gave them to my neighbors, and they were just like coming back for more. So once they realize that there is a method to this madness, they just like become on board. Yeah. And
Sweet.
yeah, and there's like one of our neighbors that is a retired, so he used to be a sailor, and he is actually the guy who helped me with like hauling all of the fall leaves into my garden. So yeah, the people are receptive to change, interestingly enough.
Nice. Got to shake them up somehow and get their attention.
Yeah. You make everything look tidy. Most people are curious, and yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you, yeah, one of the main thing is that you have to keep things tidy. So whenever I work on something, I set aside at least like an hour for cleanup. So for instance, like the front yard that I was working on and made that prepared for vegetable garden, that made a huge mess because we used to have flowers there. And I took out every single flower that we planted, repotted them in just like some tubs and stuff like that, and then it made a huge mess. Then at the end of the day, I just like spent hours just cleaning up and making sure that there is absolutely nothing in the way of my neighbors, and I believe they appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, I quit watering lawn here many years ago.
Nice.
It does keep coming back, so it'd be great. Just dig it up and be done with it.
Yeah,
Lisa, welcome.
Yes, hi. I was wondering, Saman, this is like a very inspirational story that you shared with us. So do you have any recommended reading or videos or resources for those of us who want to get started on this?
I'm a big fanboy of Jeff Lawton. He is this permaculturist guy in Australia. He has this project that he's working on called Zaytuna Farm. He does really amazing work. I have put links to his work in the resources section of my slides. I will send it out to you guys. But he offers permaculture classes. I'm taking one of his classes. I'm gonna graduate this December, by the end of this December. So I'm gonna have my PDC certificate. Yay! And he keeps posting a lot of really amazing resources, and he has like this really cool QA. Then what else? There's a guy. His YouTube name is Self-Sufficient Me. He has really interesting and cool videos too, and he goes into really details. Yeah, there are a ton of resources. I can't think of the names at the moment, but I can add them to the email that I will send out after the meeting with those information.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And can you talk about what inspired you to make this change? Like, had you done this at a previous home you had, or?
No. So the thing is, like, I'm not a farmer. I'm actually a computer scientist, and everything seemed really bad in this world, and I got like super tired of just like moaning about everything. So I started going into politics first. So I worked with Bernie Sanders' campaign because he had the most the most amount of like robust measures for climate change. That was like the top issue for me. Then everything just got destroyed by a lot of reasons, and then the other thing that I could think of is to just like start small, just start digging, start digging for victory. And I volunteered for this permaculture food forest in Maryland, as I mentioned before. They were doing an amazing work for like the whole like 15 acre, I think 15 acre of land that they had. They didn't have a single water hose, and that was really cool. And I just like learned from them. I had another friend that also took part in greening the desert project. So it's a project in Jordan, and and they started, actually Jeff Lawton works on that project. He started that project. They started with just a barren land. Majority of the soil was just like rocks. They didn't even have soil. So he started with like even creating soil from the beginning. It's really crazy when you see the before and after picture of greening the desert project. So my friend was a part of that project, and he just like kept talking about it. His enthusiasm was contagious, and yeah, it started by politics, then desperation of future, and then now we're here.
Wonderful. Well, this was so fascinating. You did an excellent presentation. Thank you so much.
That's a great question, Kimberly, too. About how you get started. Nice.
Well, the hazard of being a former journalist.
All pays off.
But I'd also like to thank either Judy or Janice, whoever posted the news article about Saman. Like, that's how I ended up getting in touch with him.
Oh, great.
But thank you for sharing your inspiring story, because like, it is true that a bunch of small actions are what creates change.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. Thanks for giving me the chance to speak.
All right, excellent. Well, now it is near the Thanksgiving holiday, and then more holidays to follow. And so I wish all of you a marvelous holiday season. And as soon as we close the meeting, you're welcome to stay on and chat if you like, or you can go enjoy your holidays. But with that, I now officially bring our club to a close.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saman.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, everyone.